What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I'm Sid the Nerdy Mark, and today is my review of the OVA Riding Bean. Riding Bean was created by Kenichi Sonoda in 1989, almost 30 years ago, and it tells the story of the Bean Bandit and his partner Raleigh Vincent. They're both a car and a gun for hire, respectively. They are, of course, framed for the kidnapping of Chelsea Grimwood, who is the daughter of Mr. Grimwood, who is the head of a huge business conglomerate. So the entire storyline is Bean and Raleigh getting to the bottom of all this and catching the real kidnappers and finding out what's really going on behind the scenes. Now, a couple of interesting facts about this OVA. This was actually supposed to be the precursor for a Riding Bean or Bean Bandit television show or a full-fledged anime. However, Sonoda and Toshiba EMI, now EMI Japan Music, or Music Japan or something like that, unfortunately had a falling out, so this never happened, which kind of sucks. But luckily, his partner Raleigh Vincent did, of course, get her own show. It is called Gunsmith Cats, and the only difference is in this OVA Riding Bean, she is a blonde Caucasian woman. However, in the show Gunsmith Cats, she is a dark-haired woman of Asian Indian descent. My Indian sister, stand up. I thought that was kind of some interesting facts. There's also a Kickstarter that's going on around, so I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to donate to that Kickstarter. Anyway, let's dive right into this review, because I'm excited to talk about the Bean Bandit. So let's talk about some of the pros in this OVA. First of all, the character of Bean Bandit himself is such a badass. He's, of course, inspired by the action hero of the 1980s. Even from his attire, he, of course, is wearing a red bandana, has long hair, glasses, and a leather jacket. Obviously, an amalgamation of John Rambo and the T-800 from the Terminator series. What is not to love about the Bean Bandit? And I feel that this in turn also inspired the character of the driver in Drive, starring Ryan Gosling, because obviously Bean Bandit doesn't carry guns. He's usually just a driver, although he does carry a knife, which is apparently better, I guess. And he's also very charismatic and very much of a quirky kind of a guy. He does make appearances in the Gunsmith Cats manga. I don't believe he makes appearances in the anime, which again also kind of sucks, but that's okay. In the manga, he's actually a lot more of a serious kind of a guy, whereas in this, he's a little bit more quirky, has a few more quips, all that good stuff. And by the way, don't you dare call his car a piece of shit, because he will run you over. But another thing I wanted to talk about was actually the entire plot of this movie. Now, obviously, I gave you a high-level idea in the beginning, so I'm going to leave the plot at that because I don't want to get into spoilers in case some of you may not have seen this anime. This plot is actually pretty good. This could really be translated well into the big screen because it is a pretty simple story. However, I think the Hollywood would have to work really, really hard to make this adaptation a disaster. However, it is Hollywood, and we know how they feel about anime, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like I said, you can still kind of make it into a really good live-action film if you were to adapt this and make it go live action. Another thing, obviously, as I mentioned, this anime is almost 30 years old, but I would say the animation still has aged pretty well. You can still kind of tell it's an older anime. However, if I just went in blind and I didn't do any research and I didn't know what the hell this was all about, I probably would have thought that this was an anime from like the not even the early 90s, the late 90s, or even the early 2000s and stuff like that. But so the animation is really good. It's very fluid. And as far as some of the action sequences, because there are a few, there are actually not too many gunfights in this show, in this OVA, which I'm totally fine with. But there are a couple of car chase scenes. Matter of fact, I think half the movie is just car chases, which I'm totally fine with, and all the car chases were really, really good. Sometimes it felt almost like a heist film, and you know, like when cars go side by side together, and it was really cool. The car chase scenes did feel like a Fast and Furious movie, which, by the way, Fast and Furious, the movies itself aren't like, you know, anything amazing as far as the plot, but obviously the action sequences and the chase sequences are absolutely magnificent, and I would say the same for Riding Bean. I really enjoyed these chase sequences and the action sequence. It was a lot of fun. That's pretty much it for the pros. And now I just have a few cons, but they're just really nitpicks. But let's just get right into them. Now, as far as cons are concerned, and I know I addressed this earlier, but I really wish there was more Bean Bandit because I love this character. I know about the whole fallout between Sonoda and EMI, but I mean, still, I wish Sonoda had found a way to create this show, even if it was not with Toshiba EMI. Another thing I do want to mention is that I did watch the English dub, and by the way, a quick note to all you purists out there, I watched the English dub of anime because I don't speak Japanese, and I want to understand what the characters are saying, and also I don't want to spend pretty much the entire time reading the subtitles. I actually want to watch what the hell is happening on the screen and not look at a bunch of text. However, I will give you this. The dubbed version the dialogue is a little bit cheesy at times. I think it was just like, oh, why would he say that? It kind of made me cringe just a little bit. But then again, it was made in the 80s, so I kind of expected that since he is, of course, an amalgamation of 80s action heroes. Cheesy one-liners are obviously kind of just come with that. So I can kind of forgive it, but I would say it's still kind of a nitpick. Another thing I would say, this anime has a lot of violence and some sexual innuendos. I feel that they're a little too on the nose for me. Well, the violence is fine, but I feel like some of the sexual innuendos could have been a little bit more subtle, and they didn't have to like make it so blatant. Like, you know, I don't want to get into any of them, but, you know, you'll understand what I'm saying if you watch the show. But those are really my nitpicks with this anime. So overall, this was a really good OVA. It really kept me gripped. It really kept me engaged. It really kept me, invested in the show. Bean Bandit, of course, is an awesome character. Like I said, as is Rally. She's really cool too. But I think she will get a little bit more character development in the Gunsmith Cats, which I do kind of want to watch now, so I might check that out and maybe do a review of that as well. So she, of course, doesn't really get a lot of character development. Neither does Bean Bandit, really. I mean, you kind of get some hints at his past, but that's okay. I'm totally okay with him being kind of ambiguous for right now, as, of course, it was supposed to be a pilot for a proposed TV show, so that I can kind of totally understand that. But I will say this, and I said this before a little earlier on, this show or this OVA is not for kids, okay? For people who think anime is just for kids, I don't think you want your child watching this anime. Let me turn that up, because there is a lot of violence. There is some nudity, especially in the beginning of this episode. I keep wanting to say show, but it's not a show. It's in the beginning of this anime. And there is, of course, as I mentioned, some sexual innuendo in here. So, of course, if you want to protect your children's virgin ears, you may want to keep them away from this. But they can definitely watch it when they're older. As far as the rating goes, I'm going to give Riding Bean a thumbs up. So that concludes my short review of Riding Bean. Let me know what you guys thought about this OVA if you've seen it in the comment section below. Also, be sure to let me know what other anime you'd like me to review on this channel, because I do want to do a lot more anime reviews. I do have a couple in mind that I would like to do, but if you have any requests, leave them in the comments below. But of course, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. And this is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.